All right, everybody, welcome to ARTiZM Season 2, Episode something. Today we have the legend, the unknown SoundCloud rapper out of Boston or Denver, I don't know, the same thing. Tre Youth, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's good, bro?
What city are you repping? So the fans know.
Boston, 100%. Massachusetts, man, that's kind of like, I've only been here in Denver since July, so
Okay, yeah, so Denver's very extra to you.
Denver is very new to me right now. Massachusetts is kind of where I became a man, like, faced a lot of growing up life lesson type shit, so
I feel that.
Massachusetts is home.
I'm very glad that I became a man in New York.
Word. Yo, I really appreciate what the East Coast did for me now. I don't think I really got it, growing up at first, but then after you realize how many winters you've been through and shit, I don't know,
For real.
yeah, like winter is no joke, bro. Like people joke about seasonal depression and shit all the time, but like winter is actually a real battle.
It's some real shit. I mean, I'm actually like I'm about to like sign the lease. I have everything basically filled out. I really just have to send it over. I'm moving to Florida, and I'm like really kind of like I was like walking around my neighborhood today, and I was like looking at all the snow and shit, and I was like sad. I was like, fuck.
I see, out here I kind of get the best of both of those, But
Yeah.
Florida, man, like Florida is beautiful, and I think that like, where are you moving? You moving to
I'm moving to
Miami or what?
Jacksonville, so it's up north.
Okay.
There's still kind of like it doesn't get cold like fucking East Coast or up north, should I say? But
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, like Florida, outside of Miami, I feel like there's this. I don't know what it is, man. Like you'll see it, or I'm sure you spent time there, but like people, they're kind of like different. They're weird. I almost feel like they get too much sun. You know what I
what you
mean?
mean? What do you mean?
Like they're just always like happy go lucky and just I don't know, almost to the point of like obliviousness. It feels like they
Oh
don't kind of,
yeah.
you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like they're just so happy they're not really aware of. I don't know.
They're
Like
just
I
like
like.
not, they're just not grounded in reality. You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
exactly,
We were talking
exactly.
about how like we're blessed to grow up on the East Coast, right? When I went to Boulder for school, and I don't know if you've noticed this being in Denver, but one thing I love about the East Coast is how like unforgiving and fucking abrasive it is. Like
Word.
you gotta like just get thick skin out here, man. Like I remember going out there and just talking shit the way I do in New York, and people thought I was being mean, and I was like,
Yeah.
What? This is just
It's not even like it's, and that's the thing too that I gotta get used to out here as well. Is like I feel it's not that like people are soft. It's just that like where we're from, people are really straightforward. You know
yeah. I
what I
mean,
mean?
it's
Like
just
we
like it's
kind
how
of,
you fucking test your friends. Like when I was
yeah.
acting like a bitch, people would just be like, "Tom, you're acting like a bitch right now," and it's like, you know.
Right. No, it's true, bro. And like even I don't know, like at work too, like even at work, people are like, yo, come on, stop fucking up. You know what I mean? And then like if I do that out here at work, they would get upset. They would get sad.
Yeah, I'm lucky because like the only job that I really had that was serious, my like boss was like an ex-marine, so he was just
Wow.
fucking straightforward as it gets. Just like you
Yeah.
do your job right, I won't fucking get mad at you. Otherwise,
Basic expectations, you know what I
exactly.
mean?
So
We kind of like, oh, go ahead.
let's get into the music because let's tell the people you are a rapper, R&B artist. Do you have any other sort of
Yeah,
genres
yeah.
that you would like to list or?
No, I think you kind of like you nailed it, you know what I mean? R&B and rap definitely is what I do. And I'm a producer as well, so I've been really exploring and diving into pushing myself past like limits of where, most mainstream hip hop is at right now. I'm trying to kind of fuse my indie influences growing up into like my hip hop influences and coming out with this, crazy fusion as most people have come to be familiar with my sound, but I'm trying to come up with a name for it. We've been calling it cloud rap, like me and my homies out here. So I think I'm
Word.
gonna stick with that.
Okay. I feel that. Speaking of, Trey just dropped an EP about 7 months ago, so not just dropped, but it's called Clouds. You can listen to it on his SoundCloud. And he's got a new song, Mountains, on iTunes, Spotify. Go check that out too.
Hey,
But yeah, Clouds, I mean, Cloud Rap, it obviously goes hand in hand. And one thing that I gathered from Clouds, as I was listening to it today, because I've been all over the fucking place, man. I like couldn't get out of my head forever, and I was getting like so mad. And I finally did, and I like relaxed, and I listened to your EP, and
Yeah.
I resonated with it because it's like very much that. It's like it's the story of this kid who's on his grind, and he's like in his head, and it's just like he's trying to like he's talking himself through it, and it's like your head is kind of in the clouds in it, like.
Word. You're right. Yeah, definitely. Kind of where we started this whole call out today, talking about winter and stuff like that. I think that I've struggled with anxiety and depression growing up, so winter was always a battle because you kind of got to just face that head on. You know what I mean? No one's
For
going
real.
outside, no one's linking up, so you're kind of forced to be alone a lot of times. So clouds, writing clouds with AJ, and like music was really my outlet to kind of find my medicine for all this shit and kind of work my way through it. So there's a lot of like almost this dark ambience to clouds, and behind that, and we also wrote clouds to sound like it can be played by a band, so like a band could play clouds, you know what I mean? So working now, after moving after that, I'm kind of trying to show people what it's like after my head is kind of out of the clouds, and I'm like owning what the clouds have taught me.
For real. So is that what you feel like these future projects are doing?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a crazy grind because I'm actually working on my mixtape right now, and as well as like my album for the summer. So just trying to have that good balance. You know what I mean? I think Young Sasuke is going to come out in February, and that's kind of got the elements that when me and you first started talking, you're like, bro, I can't wait to hear some more hype shit from you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think honestly, a lot of that had to do with where my head and my spirit was at the time, was like I really just didn't have happy shit in me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Dude,
it
that's
was
where
like
I'm at
I
right
couldn't
now.
force it. Yeah, I couldn't force it. So I had to get that dark energy out. And now people are starting to see what it's like when I'm starting kind of get find happiness. So the music is kind of lit, and I got a song with Michael Christmas coming out next month.
Word.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to showing people what's after clouds, and then the album hopefully will tell my story further.
Yeah, man. Speaking of that, like having to get this dark energy out, it's crazy because these past few days, like I didn't realize how mad I was getting. Like I was like snapping so quickly. It was just like at
Oh
my
yeah.
work and everything, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on with my shit?" And
Mm-hmm.
everybody left my house, and I just went downstairs, and I felt something like in the top of my chest, and I was like, "What is this?" So I started feeling into it with
Mm.
like my voice, and that just like led into a full on scream, and I was just like screaming, and I was like letting it out, and it
Yeah.
felt really fucking good. And I just
Dude,
think,
that's
I
why
think
music is so powerful.
Man, I think so many, like what you're saying, like you had to get it out through the music. So many people are fucked up because they don't have outlets, you know? Like
Yeah.
it freaks me out sometimes to think
That's
that
what
like
bothers me as well, is like there's a lot of people, who are becoming, especially in our generation, like our age, who are being more aware of like, yo, depression is real. Like they probably kind of, knocked it growing up a lot, like, and disregarded it as like, oh, not a real illness, because it's hard to get past that stigma of things not being physical, then it's not
it's
really
hard
an
to
injury.
understand it when you haven't experienced it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that, now we have a generation who, I mean, so many things, like they don't have an outlet. They were told they can go to school and be whatever they want, and it could be in any field they want. And they're just really struggling finding themselves. And without that outlet, man, it's hard. And that's why music is really important. And it should be appreciated more, because there's one thing everyone has, it's a voice. And vocals really resonate with people. So I really try to make sure I take that into account when I'm singing and stuff, that people will, this will help somebody.
Yeah. Would you say cuz you do like, kind of speak from a place of like giving advice, like I think on City Vice is like, my only advice is focus on you, right? Or is that a different one?
Oh yeah, no, dude, you're right. That's the one actually. Where Diggs is the one who linked us together. I think me and Diggs are doing an anime for that right now.
Yeah,
Drop
that
for
that's
Christmas.
coming soon, isn't it?
Oh my god, yeah, bro, I'm gonna send you in the chat. I'm gonna send you the link to the first scenes of this anime. It's
Oh,
crazy.
yes. I love
Like
the sneak
Digba
peeks.
absolutely snapped, bro. Like he snapped. Like I think I gave him a concept and he just went to the moon with it. Like I'm so grateful that that's how we're ending the year. Very blessed.
I'm not surprised. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, yeah, he's been pushing himself really hard. It's been cool to like. I mean, honestly, me and him have known each other for about 5 or 6 years now off the internet.
Mhm.
We met on Tumblr like way back when, and that's when like Newgrounds was still a thing,
Yeah.
and he was animating on there, and I thought his shit was dope. And to see how far we've come, like both with my music and like with his animations, 5 years down the road, it's amazing. I love this journey and seeing that because now we're able to create things. I can produce for his animations and vice versa.
Yeah, man. It must just be wild. Like I mean, everybody gets nostalgic looking back, but I've never had the experience of like being able to look back kind of with somebody else. It must be a dope feeling.
Oh yeah, it's tight. It's tight, and I really cherish those friendships the most. The ones who have like kind of stuck around through thick and thin, and especially my artist friends. Because there's a lot of ego in this scene and a lot of ego in this industry and in this art. So you lose a lot of friends to that.
You lose a lot of friends, like just even for me, like just becoming who I was and like really like getting on my shit and like taking full responsibility for myself. Like you lose
Hmm.
basically everybody who was fucking with you like back in high school, and then I'm just
Yes.
like some of
Sometimes
the
you take a
kids
step
that
back and no one calls you anymore.
for me, like most of it's almost the other way. Like I just stopped hitting them back because I was like, what? I don't want to fucking just smoke weed and fucking like, what are you guys doing? You know, like
No ambition.
yeah, and it's like, oh, they're the ones who are in college, right? I'm the one who's a fucking waste of space, but like
That
y'all
shit
like
gives me
doing
so
shit
much
with your lives, so
anxiety.
I don't really give a shit.
Oh, yeah. See, I kind of grew up in uh looking up to people like Jay-Z, honestly, who always preached like, yo, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. You have to have three hustles. Like everyone has to have three hustles. And so when I see people who are like, I'm like, yo, what are you working on right now? They're like, just work right now. Just work and that's it right now. I'm watching my favorite show. And it's like, bro,
Yeah,
there's gotta be more to it, than
yeah,
consume
man.
and flow.
I do think there's an element to focus because I think so many people are like, that's what I fucking hate about college. It's like 7 different classes of like, who the fuck knows what? Like, why do I need to read this book about like fucking butterflies to know like what, you know? So I think
Yeah,
there's
I
an
feel
element
you.
of focus, but like, I think for me, like, it definitely came like a sort of one by one. Like, I was like, oh shit, I'm nice at this. And then I got really nice, even nicer. And then I was like,
Right.
okay, wait, now I've kind of learned how to do this. I've cut off the inefficiencies and I'm like moving swiftly. I've got extra time now. What else am I putting in now? And now that's what I'm doing now. Now I've picked up like basically a second thing, which is freelance editing, which I'm starting to hustle on now, which is nice.
That's awesome. What kind of editing?
It's just like editing for like YouTube channels, so like editing their videos, putting them together, and pacing jokes, shit like that.
Oh, wow. You're really like you're chopping up videos.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's up. You should do music videos next.
Dude, I'm me and my friend we're gonna do one this month.
Bro, that's what's up. Yeah, see. Then you guys can come out to Denver or something. No, that's one thing that I'll always work with other people on is photography and cinematography because truthfully that's a whole nother art and craft to itself, and I wouldn't be doing it justice if I just tried to like film everything myself when that's someone's main butter. I understand that like my main thing is music, so I'll always try and do as much musically as I can alone, but when it comes to like cinematography and photography, you'll always see me working with like other people because that's like, what I mean, they're going to be better at it, and I love
That's
to
some real
pass that
shit.
work around.
Cause I mean,
Yeah.
as someone who works so heavily in film, like dude, I'm very good at like the macro sense. Like I can put the vision together. I can get the concept nailed down, like whatever like the very key plot moments are. I know how that works. But like when it comes to like straight cinematography, making the picture look nice, I'm like I'm half of what these kids who are actually, dope at it are, like
Yeah,
and I
I
think
feel you.
so many people, like we said, they think they can do fucking everything. And I'm just like, look at it like you can't. You just showed me that you can't.
No, you can't. And I mean, there's some YouTubers who try to do it all themselves, and they kind of, uh, it looks ridiculous because that's how everyone had first started out. So no, it's weird to see people, still kind of walking around with like a GoPro in their hand and shit, doing it themselves when you have people who have like a full crew, like making their YouTube channel happen. you know,
Yeah.
and it's clear, it's evident like whose quality and content is better is the people who have a team doing all of that work.
And admittedly, like even I just got into collaborating on my YouTube channel. It's like it's scary to outsource that responsibility. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like, but it's something you
Yeah.
have to face. But like when you're working with somebody else, you got to be like, I'm trusting you to be as dope as I am, or like at
Oh,
least
absolutely. And you have to understand that at that point too, everyone has their hand in it. You know,
exactly
it's
right.
it's
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 not just you
everyone's name
anymore.
on it at that point.
Yeah, and it's you kind of have. So working on clouds with AJ, what
Hmm.
was that like? You know, because you produce as well, but having someone produce your whole tape, because it there's 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 a thematic element throughout the entire tape of you head in the clouds trying to find some kind of peace of mind while
Hmm.
grinding, and
Oh,
the
yeah, absolutely. I
the
think that for me, what was important was there were like other people who were trying to, I don't know, who kind of were vocal about wanting to be a part of what's next for me in my music career. You know what I mean? But they
Mhm.
weren't really trying to be a part of the creative process. And AJ was like my only friend at the time who was spending every single day with me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like me and AJ spent every moment together. Like it was just grind, 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 get on a plane to Dallas together at fucking 3 in the morning, play a show, grind it, work on music again. Like he was the only one who was there with me like side by side and just understanding how I felt at the time, and honestly probably felt a lot of the same anxiety himself. We're both the same age trying to figure out what it is we want to do next, but all we know is that music is life or death for us, and that's why AJ was the main one that I worked with, because he was the only one that like it was life or death to him too, like all this music shit, like the quality of it, it meant everything to him. So yeah, I love working with AJ.
Yeah, man, that's dope. I think that was like one. There was one moment on the album where I kind of like stepped back. I was like, or on the EP pause. I was like, whoa, what the like? Because Balance, admittedly, is probably like my least favorite track on the EP.
Hmm.
But when I got
Yo,
to
honestly, it's interesting because Balance was the first track me and AJ like ever did together.
really,
So yeah, like that. I mean, we had started working on that, and then I flew to London and to work with my friends out there, and we had a lot more work to do when I came back, but Balance was like our first anything that was just kind of us feeling it out, how it was going to be working with each other. But the beat was just, I love AJ's production, so it was really on the EP for his level of work and engineering in that beat, because I really wasn't all there vocally yet for that one.
yeah, I think your rap delivery has improved significantly since that track. Um,
Mm. Yeah, I
but what I
appreciate
was gonna
that.
say is, at the end, you got a moment where you're like, knew it had to be Trey, like knew it had to be Fate, right? That
Yeah.
moment, like, just like killed the whole song. I was like, damn, like it was so
Dude, and that's the
sick.
thing too, is like one of AJ's best qualities in producing is saving the momentum, in all of his beats. Like if you ever just go to his SoundCloud and just vibe out, like he doesn't give it all to you up front. Like it's a full ride.
It's a
And then
build.
like at the end, you're like, damn, I'm glad I wrote that out.
Bro, you did that on another track. It's the one where you got the video and it starts off in the underpass or whatever. It's
How it
like
go?
yeah, the ending
Yeah.
when the beats went like I was like, why isn't the whole song like this? Like it was
No,
so
I liked
pretty.
I liked it like that, man. It was because it's sick how it just like gets dark and everything, and then, man, yeah, my boy Clinton directed that from Pink Slip, and he killed it. He
Dude,
absolutely
when
killed it.
I
That
when
was We had a great summer. I'm so happy with where this past summer went, because during filming the How It Go video, we played that show in Dallas, at New Math Mondays, out there on Off the Record, and then we came home and we played a show in New York. And to be honest, I really wasn't expecting much out of either show. Just as an artist, that's just, especially as an up and coming artist, you expect or have low expectations. You know what I mean? And
in what
when
sense?
we went,
For the crowd?
in the sense that just kind of like, I feel like, especially for myself, I'm still getting people to recognize me or to, um,
You're going to a
know my
show and the
music.
audience isn't really knowing your shit yet, obviously, because you're opening
Yeah,
presumably.
I mean, the show in Dallas, I headlined, so
Okay.
that is a lot of anxiety too, because then you're like, man, like maybe
It's
people
all on
won't
you.
even come out. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm not even from this. This is my first time in this state, ever as an adult ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people fucking came out and the shit was lit. And then we got back home to New York, and New York, everyone's grinding. Everyone, there's probably 100 shows that night, and
Yeah.
we played that show in that little gallery, and it was packed out, and it was just amazing. It showed me this past summer showed me that like I really can't stop. I have to keep going.
Yeah, man. I love that. Yeah, like this year was, I feel like, the first year that like I was really on. Like I feel like this year like I truly understood what it meant to be like a man, like
Hell yeah.
some of the most, obviously some of the worst shit had to happen for that to work out, right? But like I
Right.
feel like I meant it, like around March and April I was like, I stopped giving a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And just having this year, what I mean to say is I'm fucking stoked as fuck for 2018. It's gonna be
Oh yeah. I've
wild.
never been more excited for a new year in my life, honestly. I don't think ever. I
If
mean,
I ever hit a point where I'm like, damn, this year is gonna be worse than the previous, yeah, that's gonna be an
mhm.
upsetting feeling.
No, man, it's crazy. Like I feel like, I've been down and laying low for a while. Like I feel like I was broke for a while, and now it's like, I'm not even planning on uh how I'm gonna get by. I'm planning on what country I'm gonna go to next year, and stuff like
Damn,
that. It's
yeah.
kind of crazy. It's just a crazy change of pace. So I have a lot of good anxiety now. I'm just excited for
Good
tomorrow.
anxiety, yo. It's excitement.
Yeah, yeah, it's excitement. It's too much excitement, but luckily I have a lot of good weed out here, so it helps
For
mellow that
real.
out.
Oh my god. What's funny is I chose to go to Boulder because I was 18. I didn't want to go to college at all, and I didn't. I took a gap year, and I was like,
I
I'm
don't know
gonna
if
just
anyone
pick the one
really
that
wants
sells
to
weed.
go.
Everybody
Yeah.
wanted to go. Like my high school was the preppiest high school ever. I was like probably one of like three kids who didn't go to
Did you
fucking.
went to high school in New York too?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. That honestly ruined the college experience for me, I think. Cuz I went to community college at first, and then I got through that pretty, like pretty okay. And then after that, I went to BU. And then like when I was at BU, I was literally just grinding at work and going straight to school, and it's just schoolwork, schoolwork. So I had no time for music.
right.
That was making me depressed in itself because I wasn't brave enough to go to school for music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough.
And then when I'm going to school, people are like, "Yo, are you coming to this party?" Like, da da da. I'm like, "Bro, I gotta work in the morning." And
Right.
then on top of that, like, you got Korean kids pulling up to school in like Maseratis and shit, and you're like biking all over the city just
Flexed
to
out in
save
their
money.
black and white apparel.
Yeah, and that's all they got to worry about is how they're gonna roll up to school, party, and you know what I mean. They have no other worries financially.
Bro, they
So that
fake
I'm.
their report cards. They like they pay people to take their SATs and shit. Like it's
Oh
real
man,
fucked up.
absolutely. I mean, my one of my roommates used to make once finals came around, he used to make so much guap, like at least 400 extra dollars just writing people's essays for them and
Damn.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, man, it's a real grind. So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it attributes to that fact that college is just all about money.
I
And
know,
I
bro, but
mean,
like
it's a
I don't get like you can. I support people who like if college works for them because I know a ton of people like that and they're there and they're
Mhm.
grinding like. But
Exactly.
if you're there and you're
Exactly.
like paying a motherfucker to do work for you, like you're just putting in like what it takes to get by. Like you're a loser. I don't know what else to
Yeah,
say.
you're wasting the point, and you're wasting money too,
Yeah,
because the money is supposed to be spent like enlightening you, like getting some knowledge. If you're just having someone else do it, you're not getting any knowledge.
yeah,
But
man.
I do agree with you. I do think that college is for some people. I just think that the stigma we can work on better as a country, where like we kind of treat people who
Don't have a
don't feel
degree
like
as
college are for
lesser.
them. Yeah, we kind of we belittle them. We kind of say like, "Oh, well, you're a fuck up then." You know what I mean? Versus,
High key though, I
uh,
love it. Like, cause when I'm flexing, I'm
yeah,
not gonna be sorry. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh,
mm-mm.
what? Yeah, you told me to go back to school and not be a bum. Oh yeah, yeah, suck my dick. Like,
Oh yeah, bro.
but I just need to bide my time and wait for that flex. That's it.
Oh man, dude, yeah. Like once I started thinking about how paying after BU and shit, I was over it. I was like, man, I'm just do this music shit 100 fuck school.
So
And I
what
think
was the
about
move there? Like, how did that work?
Mhm.
Like, how many? For one thing, how many semesters did you spend at BU?
I did a whole year. I honestly have like 1 year left of school.
Damn. And you were just like, fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, at the end of it, I'm gonna get like, I was going for graphic arts and web design, by the way. And
Okay, word.
at the end of it, I don't feel like it would have benefited me any more than like what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no, for sure.
I wasn't going to be happy doing the work anyways after that.
Yeah.
So I really just went after finding happiness and follow my passion, and I'm happy I did that
I mean,
cuz
that's the
school was
move.
not for me. Yeah.
I think
I was
what I think another stigma is that without a degree you're fucked. Like,
mhm.
dude, the world, like, I'm a freelance editor. I found a job on Upwork working for like a big ass YouTube channel in like a week. Like,
Yeah.
bro, we have so many opportunities. Like,
There's a lot of opportunities, and these people can tell if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, that's
And
what I love
uh,
about it. It's all on you out here. There's no degree to be like,
that
I'm
really,
worth it.
man, that see, like, that's a whole wormhole too, because there's a lot of things that people go to school for that we have the resources now that if you're an enthusiast, you can you can do anyways.
You can outshine them in
Like,
2 seconds. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, you can go to all of those boot camps for coding and shit all you want, but that doesn't mean that that's going to stop that kid in his mom's basement from grinding 8 hours a day
we're
on his
talking people
coding
like Bill
techniques. You know what I
Gates.
mean?
Like, this is like fucking Zuckerberg. Like, these dudes were self taught. Like, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like,
They went to school to prove a point. They didn't need it.
exactly. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and like it's I think there's a big stigma there. Like when you tell people, especially people who are in a bit of a bubble, they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" It's like, bro, like the possibilities are endless for you. Like I just want people who aren't going to college to realize that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There is a grind. That's why I remember Cameron, there's probably a YouTube video on it, but Cameron, like, he was saying back in the day to like a group of people, you go to college, you take out a loan for college, and then, that loan is for like, let's say 40 racks, and then you graduate just to make 40 racks, and then you're paying that back. So then, that costs you what, 5, 10K a year. So then you really made 30 racks that year. And he's like, and you got to eat and you got to pay car insurance. He's like,
So you
yeah,
broke.
that leaves you with 5K. He's like, how are you going to get fresh?
How you gonna get that pig fur?
Dude, that's one of my like favorite rants from Cameron. He's just like, how you going to get fresh?
Well,
But it's
that
true though. He's right. You got to
for real.
start thinking, is it really for you? And are you really going to be pulling that kind of salary to balance out? There's some people who have taken out so many loans and they're getting 60K plus year salaries, but in retrospect, after those loans, they're probably making 45K a year, maybe
Yeah, man.
50, but it's
Even college debt can put you in like 120 racks deep, man. Like
hmm
shit
hmm
can real fuck you up. And
I know one person who's over 100 racks deep in college debt from Suffolk.
it's crazy, man.
That shit blows my mind because
Yeah.
I have no debt.
It's the best feeling, isn't it?
It's the best feeling, bro. That credit's nice. Having
Yeah,
good credit,
right?
bro.
I like just started working on mine too. I'm like never gonna miss a
Yo,
payment. Like I would shoot myself.
having good credit is lit, man. I never realized this is like the first year I had good credit, and we got this place in Denver, and I'm like, yo, I want good credit the rest of my life.
Right? It makes life so much easier. I mean,
hmm
so I saw you tweeted the other day, uh you were like just made 80 racks a year and I'm not even flexing it or something like that.
Oh
So
yes, yeah. This is the first year I probably that's what I'm closing the year at.
yeah, man. So what are you doing right now for
hmm
work?
So I'm actually when I was going to BU, I was actually working at Starbucks, man,
Mhm.
and they just kept offering me like to move up and move up. So I took them up on it, and I kept moving forward in that. So I'm actually a GM for Starbucks right now, and I'm working on music at the same time. So that's been able to provide like a lot of financial means to invest in myself and my music. And then on top of that, I've just got like other hustles. Like I have like a little startup with like a delivery service in Boston that I'm seeing some money from. I have like a 35% stake in that. And then I've been working on audio engineering for people's like music and producing for people's projects. So those are like my three hustles right there: audio engineering, coffee, and music. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like that's the grind.
You know what I
And
love about that too? It's like the main hustle, which is music, which isn't super monetized yet, is like that's the main hustle too. It's like you ain't even like reached the final form, which is
Oh
just
yeah,
beautiful.
that's what I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize now that they didn't before, is that a lot of artists would kind of look for outside investments and outside people to believe in them, to put the funds behind them before putting funds in themselves, where you have again, people like Jay-Z who didn't really pop till they were like 27, 28, because he got his money right first. And then he was able to push himself to that, to where he needed to be to do more. But he didn't really have his first major placement until like 27, 28.
Yeah, man.
And I
I'm
think
not a
that's because
businessman. I'm a businessman.
business, man. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And speaking of, I just think, especially with the culture now, with a lot of SoundCloud rap, these kids are so young. People are like, oh
hmm
shit, if I just, make this generic ass song, it could blow up. And I'm like, why don't you
Yeah.
just think 5 years down the line, think, hey, I want to do something really innovative. Like I want to like change shit for real. And
Right. That's why I don't sweat a lot of that scene, but it is kind of frustrating because you have this, music and people's attention span is the platform is important for that, because people can only pay so much attention to shit. They can only surf so much, and
yeah, for real.
we have a lot of the game is really over the SoundCloud game, especially, is really oversaturated with people who aren't necessarily trying to put out the best art that they can possible, more so than the best gimmick they can possible,
Yeah.
because when people come out with these gimmicks, they pop. I mean, we see it. They go viral on YouTube. I mean, it can be argued, but like people like Tentacion, all that started with what really felt like a gimmick, and people ride that gimmick out. uh, it's kind of sad because you see some really good artists sell themselves out to be a gimmicky thing at first, and then they try and push the real music, and you kind of just, I understand it, but you wish that they didn't have to do that
The
to be
issue is
recognized.
if you play a gimmick, I think personally, the reason I'll never do something like that, I think it's really hard to get yourself back on track after that. Like, at what point am I like, okay, I'm going to stop selling myself short? I don't think you can do that. I think once you decide to
Mhm.
sell yourself short, you're kind of fucked. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
I think it's
oh
hard to
yeah.
find examples of people who like sold out and then, bought back, like,
Oh, and real ones know, they don't let it go. They don't forget.
oh,
They're
for
like,
sure.
you
And I mean,
know.
you look at somebody recently like Big Crit, who took 2
Mhm.
years out the rap game to produce a double album. Nobody saw Crit's name. He kind of fell into irrelevancy, and then he came back
Oh
with a
man,
banging record, and just
banger.
he's way more famous than he ever was. Like
Have
way
you
more
seen
well
his
known.
Have you seen his Rhythm Roulette?
No, what is that?
It's a it's a thing from Mass Appeal where they blindfold the artists and they pick like 3 records in a shot blindfolded, and they go back to the studio and they have to make a beat, with the samples that they got from that blinded visit.
Oh
And
shit.
Big Crit's like one of the few people who made like a full beat and a full song like in one episode. Like he did all the lyrics, everything.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good too. And it's not like, it doesn't feel like some half-ass beat for the show. You know what I mean? Like it's something that could have been on the album. I don't know if it is actually.
I have no idea, but I just think Big Crit is like obscenely fucking talented for what he did, and just
Yeah,
it
I
like
slept.
gave me a little bit of faith back in the rap game to see something like
Mm,
like a double album blow up. Like when is the last time a rap double
mm,
album blew up? Right? Like
true.
people's attention
Kendrick didn't
spans are
give you
so
faith though.
short. What?
Kendrick didn't give you faith.
I mean, Damn was way more mainstream. I love Damn personally. It's probably my favorite Kendrick. I don't know. Actually, I can't answer that. To Pimp a Butterfly is so good, but
That's hard.
I
Yeah.
think I think Damn resonated with me personally the most. I can say that
hmm
because that's right when I was going through that really tough time where I became a man and like everything was confusing. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Kendrick speaking from the perspective of Damn, he
hmm
doesn't know what's going on. Like everything's kind of fucked, right? Like
Oh yeah, as especially as like a minority in America in this, in this age, it's kind of crazy.
yeah, it's funny. I like. I just remember I can't personally resonate with that. Obviously, I'm white, but
Word.
the I just remember talking to some of my friends. This is before Damn came out, but it was like I was like raving about To Pimp a Butterfly, and it's literally like I think it's the best rap album put out period ever.
That's
And
real.
they were just like I can't resonate with it because like I can resonate with Good Kid, Mad City, but because To Pimp a Butterfly is so like pro black, I guess, or how would you put it? Just black oriented, maybe.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely.
I guess they just couldn't. I don't know. The thing that I fucked with so hard, I just remember listening to Pimp a Butterfly for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's
Dude,
like just the flows on certain records, and just like I was like, how is he doing this? Like, how did he come up
right.
with that? Like, it was so crazy to me.
Mm. No, I think uh, I want to make sure like I word this right because I'm trying to think it through. I think that it's okay if people can't necessarily resonate with it, but it's cool for them to understand the story and possibly relate it in their own through their own struggles, but also from the sense that these people are citizens in the same country that they're living in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for
it's
real.
like seeing another, just like that's a crazy reality in itself, is that we live in the same states and cities every single day, but there's a complete parallel perspective to how our days go.
Yeah, man. It's wild. I just remember when I was 19 and I took my gap year from college. I loaded trucks, and
Hmm.
I was the only white kid where I worked, and I was like the only situation where I was like not in a place filled with mostly white people because I grew up in the fucking like suburbs, like
That's crazy. To when you had to work like a hard ass job, right?
yeah, right. And I
Hmm.
didn't know anybody. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing for a while. And like, you eventually you're just like one of them, and not one of them in the sense that I'm black. I just
Hmm.
meant like one of the crew. Uh,
No, I feel you. I
Gotta be
feel you.
delicate with my language here before I just fucking
No, no,
swear.
I definitely understand, and that's. I mean, there's a lot of people that can relate when they just kind of, you know, let the egos go to the side and just see each other as people with different experiences, and I think there's a lot of relatable issues coming from, you know, the poor white side as well.
Yeah,
Those are the people that voted for Trump and are in all these states that we call flyover states. They have a lot of the same issues and concerns that the poor black community faces. So I think that deep down, there's a lot of issues that are closer than, you know, than we make it seem
I
sometimes.
was reading this book. It's called The New Jim Crow.
Hmm.
It's about mass incarceration and how it's like it's a system kind of built to sort of keep people of color, mainly black people, down and oppressed, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I heard some excerpts on NPR. Like,
yeah, it's a
I
pretty
gotta pick it
wild
up.
book. But what they said was like a strategy that the rich white people used back during slavery was
Hmm.
they saw that the poor black people and the poor white people had the same issues, and they were starting to work together, and they were starting to rebel together.
Hmm.
So what the
Oh,
rich
that's what
white
led to the Civil War.
no, this was way before that. This was
Oh wow,
like this was before slavery started. This was when black people were indentured servants, and
wow.
they were over there. But they saw that they were starting to work together because their wages were so they had no food and shit, and like they were starting to
Mm.
rebel. And what the rich white people did, they were like, "Hey, poor white people, you guys are like above them. Like you're separate. Stay over here. We give
Oh
you like
yeah.
the right to." And this is when slavery kind of started. We were like, you can kind of like police these people. You won't get any more money from us. You'll just have a little bit of power, and we're gonna like be racist and make you feel better about yourself. Because when people are feeling shitty, one way to and they're angry, you have to redirect their anger. If the rich white people saw that these people were angry, so they redirected it.
Yeah,
And
divide and conquer.
exactly,
That concept of divide and conquer is so real.
yeah, it's
Yeah, that's wild because all of that is not that long ago.
no,
And I think that oftentimes, especially growing up and going through the education system, they teach you that, or they make it feel like it was just so long ago. It's so deep in our past. And then we're able to have monumental things like what happened in Charlottesville.
yeah,
And you realize, like, man, it really wasn't that far back. And um, a lot of that mentality is still there through families. But when what you were just talking about, that Jim Crow mentality, is that people, I guess, people start to realize that once we start seeing each other as more unified or divided by class and not race, then you start to really see who your enemies really are, in this system of capitalism.
yeah, for sure. it's that was something that kind of really fucked me up when I like when I first realized there are genuinely evil people out there,
Hmm.
and these are people at the top who wear a big fat smile and a nice ass suit, and they look like nice people and they act like nice people, but they are cold hearted and they want to fucking kill
Yeah.
you. Like they want to more or less control you, and it's a realization because I mean it's one thing I guess that takes you to be adult. That loss of
To realize
naivete.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I
I agree.
just to go to a lighter ish topic, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just knew some like type of politics are so heavy right now,
Oh
it's
yeah,
on
man.
everyone's mind. So we had to get it out of the way.
I think one issue I was thinking about this earlier. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I don't want to talk politics right now." I'm like, "Why not?"
Hmm.
Like, okay, I get it if we're talking it all the time, but like, you just don't want to voice your opinion because like you're scared to get backlash or something. I feel like that's the main thing. People are so afraid to like, for
Oh
people are
yeah.
so afraid to be wrong for one thing, which is like I'll post my
That's kind of
personal
privilege in
opinions.
itself,
Yeah,
That's kind of privilege to just be like, "Oh, I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm not trying to think about that."
for
Well,
real. I didn't even
man,
think about
there's
it
like a
that way.
lot of people that have to just fucking like they have to live that shit,
Yeah,
you
and it
know?
directly affects them. I
Mhm.
didn't even think about it that way. That's very true. I think it's just like a whole other thing to be like. I mean, like honestly, like I enjoy being wrong, right? Like, how the fuck else am I gonna like get my fucking viewpoints better? Like, I don't know everything. That's why I
Yeah.
think both of the like alt left and alt right are kind of like equally fucked because they're both so indoctrinated to their own beliefs and they won't
Mhm.
be told otherwise. Like, if you can't be fucking swayed, like then you're fucking stupid. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's true. Then the moment you think that you've learned everything is the moment you've just accepted you're going to be stupid. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that you can't take any more knowledge, then you're just gonna you at that point you're just accepting you're dumb.
Aristotle said it's the sign of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it, right? So,
Mm.
but the thing is, these people, they're not even entertaining the thought. Like, I was arguing with a kid the other day on Twitter, and it wasn't even politically charged, but just to see, like, where the argument started, me staying to the facets of the main argument, and somehow he's talking, by the end of it, he's saying, why are you like trying to force other people how to think? I was like, what are you talking? Like, all I did was offer a counter opinion, and you have
Yeah.
completely let go of my counter opinion. Now you're telling me that having a counter opinion is fucked up. Like, it
Uh,
was
no,
ridiculous.
the best debates with people with opposing ideals are with educated people.
Oh yeah,
They're also the most frustrating, but they're frustrating in a way because they try to both sides tend to try to make facts work in their favor, and it's so interesting,
yeah. I was gonna say, I think even with educated people, like, there's a lot of educated people on the right and the left that
Hmm.
are also just not willing to concede, right?
No, with biases,
Yeah, you hardly
100%.
ever see it because it's just agenda pushing and it's annoying. Um,
Mm.
but I saw to bring up something else that's not so politically charged.
Hmm.
You tweeted about the whole Post Malone fiasco, which was pretty big. Um, what was your thoughts on it, basically?
um, you know, my thoughts on it are, I think, I think that it's not fair for any artist to come up in this genre and pretend that there's no history to it or like disregard it, as like, oh well, it's not relevant, and it's frustrating because hip hop is directly linked to Black culture,
Yeah, and
and
to just make it clear to people listening, Post Malone said that I think he said when I want to, there's not very much good rap music out there anymore. Like if I want to listen to sad music, I'm not listening to rap. Is that right? Something like
yeah,
that.
that's what he said.
Basically
I
made a
just
blanket statement about rap that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just Post Malone. Maybe I shouldn't have used him as like a,
I think he's
but
getting scapegoated right now because he said the wrong thing at the wrong place, and
yeah,
people have been
and
waiting. Like,
right, right. But I mean, there is a lot of things about him. Rosenberg was trying to come at him a little bit, but I see where he's coming from. There's a lot of things that feels like he's appropriating Black culture, and
yeah, Charlemagne the God
uh,
fucking hates him. I mean.
Oh yeah, I mean it's absolute. There is a high level. You can't deny it. It is appropriation, and there's like these Chinese rappers coming out now too, like
Higher
Higher
Brothers, they're
Brothers.
lit. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. They're they're it's kind of funny to me, but they I watched their Vice segment on HBO, and they interviewed them, and
I saw that
Dexter.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, Dexter. He's like the guy with the tall like Gerald afro from Hey Arnold, but
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
uh he mentions that to them. He's like, there's a lot of people who would who feel like you're appropriating Black culture, and how do you feel about that? And they compared it to they said, well, it's like there's a lot of Black people in America who really like anime. And they've really gotten close to, and they've gotten close to that culture. Da 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 da. We're kind of
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing that they're doing, and I kind of, um, a bit of me was like I'm one of those. I'm like a Black kid who really is into anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, like maybe I kind of tried to see his perspective, but in reflecting on it, I still don't agree with it. It's kind of like,
So I have a question because I think so with regards to appropriation, what is your thoughts? Like they shouldn't
mhm,
do it. Like they shouldn't be allowed to make art that's influenced by Black artists. You know what I mean? Like what is
word,
the other
word.
option?
Word. Yeah, that's true. I guess like at least that they're respecting the foundation of it. They're saying that there is some homage to it. So um but
Okay.
I think that like when people usually when people talk about this, there's like a hot that is like the exact push, and the fight back is like, well, then how are we going to make music? If we constantly bring race into it, and etc. And they're right, but I just think that people need to be educated and know that there's a lot of respect that has to be given to Black culture for this, because like our people have no other culture. You know what I mean? Like we don't like America, everyone's an immigrant of some sort, and they come where they have like a back culture and stemming roots, but Black people don't have stemming roots. They came from a continent, not like a direct country or a direct tribe.
Mm.
So after slavery, we slavery can't be our only culture thing that our culture is founded on. So a lot of what Black culture is in America came from a lot of real blood, sweat, and tears. And I just think that the way music's going now is tending to disregard that.
Yeah, I think it's like we said before. It feels like there's so much distance, right? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
well, and we can't separate it. We can't just again like, oh well, that was so long ago.
yeah, I know, and I think I'm just saying I think people are so nearsighted uh, to only their reality, right? So when you hear
Hmm.
somebody like Lil Pump, like he's not. I mean, like I'm not asking somebody like Lil Pump to go deeper than surface level because that's what he's good at and that's what he's doing. No respect to him. And the thing is, I don't know. I would never. Obviously, I don't. I think you're the same way. Like I would never hate somebody who's hustling. Like made it however he could. I mad respect for Lil Pump and people like that.
Word.
Um,
Yeah, I feel you.
but it's like I'm not asking Lil Pump to be like make some deep ass comment about race relations or some shit or even comment like I'd love for him to get educated about it. But hey, if he's busy getting money right now and that's him. Like I just I don't I get the respect thing and I
Hmm.
get especially for people who are like white like Post Malone some sort of acknowledgement should definitely be made of like hey like obviously this is Black culture. I mean Post Malone had fucking like dreads right like so like it just like obviously just the acknowledgement of appropriation but like also the acknowledgement of like that's okay like America's known
Hmm.
to be a fucking melting pot regardless right like
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You would never see some Black dude in country. People are just like, I don't know, like you would never see someone just come into like the country scene that's of color disrespecting that whole culture, because immediately they would get shut down and just like
yeah, I think
you know
I think that's just privilege, right? Like
uh-huh
I think
you
that's
like you
just
would
them
never see
seeing
some
them as a
country singer
privilege.
like, oh, you know this is and if they did, they would just get crazy slander.
It's true. I mean, it's because you look at the people who are gathering up the streams and like the people who like it's like these white faces in mainstream
Mhm.
media, right? And those are the ones that get pushed and They
Yeah, it's crazy.
especially
It's like
getting
kids from
pushed
the
into hip.
burbs.
Yeah, they especially get pushed into hip hop because hip hop is the most relevant genre now and probably for
Hmm.
the foreseeable future, right?
Hmm.
So
It's the most fun to make, like in this new digital era
yeah,
of
and
like
I mean it's
writing,
so
of like
accessible now. It's
programming,
nuts.
and you know what
So
I mean.
I want to get back to your work for a second. So
For
you
real.
said that you're trying to innovate, you're trying to do new things, right? I think one thing that I was interested in is you do have, you are, in my opinion, very much a birthed of the SoundCloud era. Like you
Hmm.
do have a SoundCloud sound, not to diss it. SoundCloud is great, but I think that obviously carries its own stigma when it's said
Hmm.
like that. But
Hmm.
with you, like
Yeah.
what influences are you drawing from? Where are you trying to take this?
Hmm. No, it's not necessarily bad. It's just that kind of, back in the day we had like MySpace music, right? And you saw like a lot of, you just got exposed to a lot of new artists from like people's profile songs and shit like that. And SoundCloud of this most recent era has been like the MySpace music of our era. So, to be called a SoundCloud artist isn't really bad. It just means that you were discovered during this time where that was like the platform to find people.
I think
You know
there's
what I
always
mean?
this thing. I literally I like physically cringe whenever I
Mhm.
see people like blanket SoundCloud or mumble rap. Especially gets me when people are like, "Oh, mumble rap is so bad." I'm like, "Shut up!" Like I just want to punch them in the face. Honestly, I get so heated because I'm like, you just don't know
Yeah,
what the fuck you're talking about.
when you just start, yeah, everyone wants to box something into a category.
I
It's
know
all good.
it's
But
frustrating.
yeah, man, I draw my influences from a lot of places. I think that a lot of my my top producers, my top favorite producers are probably number one is Nujabes.
Right,
Um, yeah, the producer from Samurai Champloo. I like a lot of Japanese artists because they pursued music in a way that was really interesting to me. Like I feel like a lot of Nujabes's music and production was trying to follow a feeling, not necessarily any type of sound,
for
you know.
sure.
And you feel that it just feels like emotion ridden. And
Feels like a garden or a river. Like
yeah, yeah, feel exactly. So it was those people who really influenced me. It wasn't necessarily the people who were writing hits at the time. It wasn't. Although I'm a huge fan of Pharrell and Timberland's productions in the past.
yeah,
Um, that's what they were doing. They were hit makers. But for me, it was people who really I felt like were producing music that was meant to be medicine.
mm,
And not to say that those aren't a different type of medicine, but just really like soulful music. And
for sure,
so Nujabes was one, and then there's this composer named Joe Hisaishi, and he did the soundtracks to a lot of Studio Ghibli films like Spirited Away and stuff like that.
for
Princess
sure.
Mononoke, yeah. So those are my influences, and some bands growing up too. I was
So wait,
into,
I just for like for a producer like that, like, uh,
yeah.
how does that factor into your music? Because I mean, for me, like obviously, when I'm creating, I'm not directly. I don't think anybody creates like this, where it's like, what are my like influences? What would they like? You just kind of do shit, and then you kind of see things later. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess how does that manifest in your music when you look at it?
I think that the way those kinds of inspirations manifest is directly that, the inspiration of how they approached a song.
Okay, so it's like you'll
um
feel like, oh, this is like it's like very vibe driven, is what you're meaning.
yeah, yeah, like I've been like I used to play guitar before I transitioned to trying to get into digital production. But you know uh how do I say it? Like I lost my train of thought. But like when now, like when writing music, I know how I want to approach a song. Kind of like the melodies first sometimes is a way I approach things, whereas a lot of other people do the drums first. But I know that because of being a songwriter, I know that Nujabes approached a lot of things with the melodies first before the drums and stuff.
I don't even if I feel like if I was producing music, I'd do the same thing. I feel like the drums would be so irrelevant to me. I feel like that's like such a that's like it. They're so important, obviously. Like they hold the beat down, but I feel like that's something that ties it down afterwards. But obviously, I don't
Yeah.
fucking make music, so I don't know. But
Yeah, no, Most typical hip hop follows the drums. Like the drums are first in most typical hip hop because they would build the samples around the drums.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
around that tempo.
I-
But yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. And that's what and it's cool to kind of like think of all these different techniques and approaches with all these different tools available to me now with like different sound patches and different synths and stuff like that.
One thing that I liked, there's this rapper Milo who I constantly bring up on the podcast because he's like my favorite rapper. But
Oh, I'm not hip. Milo?
yeah, Milo, you should check him out after. He's dope.
How do you spell it?
Milo. I
Oh,
think
okay.
DJ Booth put him at number 9 for top 50 albums of the year. Um,
Wow.
and he's independent, no major, nothing, and only
Like another
dude
chance, huh?
only dude in the top 10, no major, no sign, nothing. You know.
Wow.
And I think it's super cool. But he said something that really affected me. He said, I want to make rap rigorous again. Like,
Mm.
I want to make this shit, like, challenging for the listener. And that's how I approach my work now. Like, I used to kind of be like, oh, will the audience kind of get that joke? Like, will they kind of, fuck with this? And now I'm like, bro, like, if they have to work for it, like, I don't care. Like, this is not easy to do. Like, I don't want it to be easily accessed by, like, this is for
Yeah, I
certain
agree.
people, and if it hits them, it's gonna hit them hard, right?
Yeah. It's definitely been a weird phase in music right now. I'm excited for us
Dude, the new
to move
underground
move
scene,
past
or
it.
the underground scene, in my opinion, is fucking booming right now. Like, dude,
Hmm.
I feel like this has been such an amazing year for music, and like, it's obviously been overshadowed by so much garbage. But like, dude, like, I
No,
mean,
you're right. If you're like in the internet, you're excited. Like if you're like really on the internet, you're excited for the new year because
yeah, dude.
there's been a lot of good new artists emerging.
I don't. It's not even that. Like this year, some kind of veterans of hip hop, like especially the New York underground, which I'm like obsessed with. But like this dude,
Mm,
Uncommon NASA, dropped an album that I've like just started listening to. It came out like 2 months ago. I just never got the time, and I'm listening to it now, and it's
mm.
so good. I'm just like, dude, the New York like the underground scene is crazy, and I mean like the real
Yeah,
underground scene, like the dudes who are out like playing shows, like not dudes who are just up on SoundCloud racking up followers, right? Like,
yeah,
which
definitely.
no hate to them, but that's not the underground scene.
No, no, it's different. But I think the people who are putting in the groundwork will see better results.
Oh yeah, I think even Lil Yachty fucking said it really well. You gotta take over your city before you take over the world, right? So
Hmm.
it's true, man. If you don't have that, these are why people like fucking just the most forgettable SoundCloud rappers are gonna be immemorable the next in a year. Like Designer did
Hmm.
not have New York backing him up, right? Like, where is he now? Like nobody does. He's not coming back. But like,
I'm not following it. Yeah, you're right. I'm not like checking in on it like that, like I am for other artists.
exactly, man. It's because they just didn't have that. Like Flatbush Zombies. Like, I mean, I'm not even super paying attention to them anymore. But like, they drop an album, I'll look because like they got
Man,
they
that
got New York
Odyssey
behind them.
joint, that Odyssey joint was amazing.
For real. I really I definitely enjoyed it a lot. I have like the physical and everything.
Yeah,
I saw
I
him live.
really fuck with their beats. The archetype kills it.
Eric, yeah, he's
Yeah.
dope. I think they have a dope crew. Yeah. Man. It's just Better Off Dead was like my main joint. Dude, it's so good. And
Yeah, that's awesome. That's also awesome. I saw Flatbush Live one time. Like, actually went to see ASAP Rocky, and
mm,
they were playing from. This is like when ASAP had just dropped that first mixtape, Live Love ASAP,
oh yeah.
and dude, and like everyone, it had all of like the Northeast just going crazy.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I
bumping it.
remember that.
Yeah, and I went to go see him, and they opened for him. I had no idea who they were. It was crazy. Like no one did. No one, like the crowd was quiet.
Yeah.
And now like seeing their shows, it's like,
Oh
man,
man.
it's inspiring just to know that.
I saw them last year and they fucking snapped. Like
Mm,
it was one of the craziest shows ever, and they're just nuts.
that's
But
what's up.
yeah. So as you're projecting to drop Young Sasuke in, what'd you say, March?
February. It may be March, but it's looking on track for
How do
February
you
right now.
how do you balance, like, because Young Sasuke is obviously this dark side, uh like brooding type shit, I assume, just based off Sasuke, obviously.
Yeah,
Those are my
word.
guesses.
Yeah.
But fucking, how do you are you kind of like almost out of that stage of this anger and brooding, or are you still like, when you feel it, you go, and then when you're feeling happy, you go make stuff for the album? Like, how do you split that? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just whatever you feel at the certain time.
Oh. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, actually, this tape is gonna have some of that happier stuff on there, actually, because it's kind of like, Sasuke did go away for a while. He trained, but his head got clear, and he came out of those clouds kind of like focused, and he had
Are we
just
talking? Are we talking when
determination.
Sasuke went away to train with Orochimaru? Or are we talking about
Mhm.
the end of Naruto when Sasuke becomes a good guy?
Both. I mean, that's all part of like Sasuke's journey. Is like he went to go to really just be strong and do whatever it took to be strong. And he came back with a clear head and determined to, get get some closure in a lot of things in his life. And so, I think that people are going to see at the tape like I'm coming back determined, I'm
Mm,
focused, and they're going to get like a vibe that is like unique. Like they're not going to be able to get this wave anywhere else. Like people are going to have to listen to Tre Youth for this energy. And that's why I've been producing all this shit by myself, because it's
okay,
like an exclusive sound to who I am.
word. And yeah, I mean that's dope that you're self-producing. How does that change things? I guess because with somebody else producing, obviously they're kind of setting the tone a lot of the time, and you're kind of well, you're I think it's a 50-50 stake. Now that
Mm,
you're kind of do you kind of so you approach the melodies first as far as the beat goes, but as far as the entire song, are you
hmm
thinking, okay, I've got these bars, let's get a beat, or like is it the entire thing conceptually, like I want to make a song that feels like this and then I'm gonna write the bars and then like how does that work?
no, that's good. That's a great question. My creative process for me is like I know a lot of people who write poetry and lyrics on the side, before they even approach any type of musicality behind it.
Mhm.
And I do that sometimes. Like I'll get out, jot down a couple thoughts, like a couple lines, but I can never write like a full, you know, 30, 16 bar or whatever, without hearing the song first. Like for
Yeah,
me, the words manifest from like the melodies and like the feelings that it gives me.
I'm the same
And
way.
yeah, man. And it
I'm
just
very
really
like
sometimes,
receptive to my environment. I'll put it like that.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes the sounds in the background sound like they're saying the words I'm saying, because it's like you know what I mean, because that's what I heard in it. And some people will tell me that sometimes, like, wow, like that is exactly what it sounds like would have been the hook.
Dude,
You know what I
it's
mean?
like I feel the same way. It's kind of fucked up. It's like it's so wild to think about sometimes. Like when I'm sometimes the craziest thing is like I'll be writing a joke and
Hmm.
I'll laugh at nothing, and then the joke will come to me like 5 seconds later, and it's like I didn't think like I can't do this without bringing like some kind of like nature or God or whatever you want to call it. It's like something else is
Mhm.
flowing through me, like,
Yeah.
and it's from the environment, and it's like just because I didn't have the fucking thought and then laugh. I laughed and then had the thought. It's like
No, exactly.
yeah,
I
and
think that it's something that like I really enjoy going to is this thing from Greek mythology about inspiration.
mhm.
And they used to believe that like the Latin term of the word inspire, its origins mean God's breath. And they used to believe that like when you got inspired, that God or a God had just breathed on you and you had to take full advantage of it. So I
Dude,
kind of like,
I mean
yeah,
it
that's
makes
kind of
complete
what like
sense.
I think of for inspiration,
It's the annoying part
it's
is
kind of
when you
like
get
that.
inspired in the wrong place, wrong day. You're just like, fuck, I know I have to do this now because it's not gonna, nothing else is gonna work out. Like,
Oh yeah, I
you
have
can't
so
come
many
back to it
times like
later.
that.
It's so
It's
like
hard because
just laying
sometimes
in
I'll bail
bed and
on
you're about to
plans.
fall asleep and you're just like, just, like come on. And then I've literally been like about to fall asleep, so tired. It's like 1 in the morning, and then I'm just like typing in my notes. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. And then like, you snowball effect, and you're just like, okay, it's 4 a.m. now. Great. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Hmm.
It's so
No, that
fucked up.
happened to me last night. I was listening to the Young Boy mix over and over again, like in bed, because I was sending it to Mikey today, and then I heard something that I didn't like in the mix. I was like, and it was like 1 in the morning. I'm like, man, I gotta get up. I gotta go open my laptop and change that.
Yeah, man. It's it's almost like I've spent so much time on shit that's like so minute and minuscule that like nobody will ever notice, but like you have to do it, like
Hmm.
for your own sanity, I guess, even though it makes you insane at the same time.
Hmm.
But I think it's such a dangerous game to play with art because like I've gotten to the point where it's driven me a little bit too crazy, and I've driven it a little bit too far. And the way you approach your work is the way you approach your life. So obviously, I've spun out in art, I've spun out in life at the same time, and it's like it's a trip, man.
Yeah, you're right. You always anything with your name on it, you have to put your 100 behind.
Yeah, I mean it's just like your life. You just gotta put 100 on, right? It's just and
true.
Fuck, man. I think because I me personally, art is like a very like it's not something that's driven by thought. It's not something that makes sense, right? So, and that's kind of the way. I'm not like an analytical dude when it comes to my life either. I feel things out. I'm very intuitive, and like if something feels right, I make the decision snap. Like, like I chose this apartment building kind of like based off the street name, which is like retarded. Like that doesn't make sense, but like it made sense. Like it made perfect sense, and I don't care. And like I think it just in that sense,
it makes a lot of sense because that energy is going to be reflected on your everyday life. People don't move by the ocean by coincidence. They move because the ocean makes them feel a certain type of way.
Yeah, for real. I just think a lot of people are like scared to let go. Just scared to let it be, and that's I think the greatest thing about like making good shit is like you had to let go of yourself to let it go to make it like.
Oh yeah, not even like let go of yourself, but let go of this overwhelming feeling of what are people going to think of you.
Yeah.
Especially like identifying as a musician, or even a rapper, just kind of people just have this stigma of it already. So you have to be able to rid yourself of any judgments and stigmas.
Yeah, man. Especially, I mean, for you, like coming and being like, I'm a rapper. It's like, oh, where's your stuff? SoundCloud. Like, so you just say A a lot, I'm assuming, right? Like, just
True.
Yeah. But
True.
I don't know. I think as I said earlier, I like stigmas. I like when it's kind of stacked against me opinion wise. Because
you like you see it as a challenge?
It drives me definitely. Like I'm definitely just like, dude, you're gonna regret talking shit. Like I think this rapper from New York, Mike, he was like, that's why I smirk when I win, because he was just talking about people talking shit and just smiling at him. That's it.
Success is the best revenge, man.
Exactly. So I beat up Touche with a stack of magazines I'm in. Speaking of Odd Future influence, real quick, I gotta shout it out because we're coming to the end. Saturation 3 just dropped. I don't know if you're hip to
Brockhampton. Yeah.
You on that?
Oh, of course. Bleach is my favorite track. I mean, I know Bleach has been out, but
I didn't. You cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
Oh, I was saying, yeah, Bleach is my favorite track on that. It's been out before the album dropped, but that's still my favorite.
It was just on. It was on the little movie they did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just listened to the full thing like right before we did this because I just didn't have time. Like
yeah.
And I mean Brockhampton, like Saturation 2, like that was a very special album for me. Like so I was like I'm gonna when I have special art, like when Kendrick drops an album, like when Tyler dropped, like that's not something I'm gonna listen to like while I'm running or like while I'm fucking working or something. Like I'm gonna take an hour, do nothing else but listen to that album. So obviously I had to block out an hour for this and I just didn't have time. But Jesus, man, it was great.
Oh man, yeah, it's a good one. And are you a fan of Kevin Abstract?
I love Kevin. Like, Kevin's amazing.
Yeah, man. So it was very satisfying. But I really am looking forward to more work from Kevin too. As I know a lot of people are. I know there's a lot of other members, but yeah, I'm looking forward to his solo stuff.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they're coming out with a 4th album in 2018 as Brockhampton. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like American Boyfriend's awesome. I think I like Brockhampton's material way more. I like the sound. Kevin goes so much more aggressive on Brockhampton, and I love that.
You like the hype. You like the hype stuff.
I do. I mean, like I fuck with the soft stuff. I listen to a lot of soft music. I guess that's not rap though.
No, you do. Honestly, I don't know. Some of it is to me. Chance has some stuff,
Yeah. I think there's definitely like moments like fucking Kendrick has You and Chance has Paranoia and shit, and those moments hit me.
Right.
But they're few and far between.
I'm just like such a loner. I don't know. Like I'm always listening to me because my friend actually in London, he has this term for us. He calls us popular loners because like
I
we
think
are
I
like, bro. I'm straight up like a loner. I just like work on music and watch anime and shit. But like I'm kind of popular. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I do. I'm not popular, but I'm a loner, so I guess hopefully I get the prefix at some point, you know?
Yo, you can join the crew soon. I see it in your future.
Just all right, you guys got like a group chat and everything. I was
Oh yeah, but no, that's true. We have a group chat on WhatsApp, and
the popular loners. This is the crew. I mean, I dig it.
yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I think a lot of the New York underground people I was listening, just underground people in general, they're not making bangers at all. But I
Mm,
wouldn't say it's necessarily like, excuse me, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like sad though, you know. But
mm-hmm.
I'm definitely listening to like slowed down, spacey material. Like
You don't
that's
fuck with Wiki?
I love Wiki.
Yeah, I mean he's New York.
Yeah, yeah, no, but
Oh, okay.
Wick isn't like I mean Wick's stuff is like that's what I'm saying. Like Wick's stuff isn't like well, you know, he has his bangers occasionally. I guess like Pretty Bull and Mayor, but like you know, it's that I guess that would be kind of a good definition of what the other stuff is. Not super Wiki sounding, I guess, but you know, who sounds like Wiki, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but like kind of just like its own weird little thing, and you know, I guess not easy to put into its own genre. Like I'm not just listening to hype music; I'd shoot myself, you know.
I feel you. No, I feel you.
But yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would check out this dude Mike because Mike is also a New York rapper. Wiki featured on his mixtape and everything.
Mm.
So he's slow, he's spacey. I think you'd like him. He's all about
Yeah,
the vibes.
send it to me in the Discord.
I will. I most definitely will. I sent it to Diggs last time we were talking, but
That's what's
so
up.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna close it up with a final question, real quick, real quick. So
Let's do it.
if you're talking to like you from the what's like the most important lesson you learned from doing this shit, like just on your own, you know, like coming up.
Mm. Oh man, the most important lesson by far is um just self-worth, you
Mm.
know, like kind of how valuable I am and how much you really can do uh, of your own efforts and your own fruition. Like collaboration is powerful, and collaboration does make amazing things. But to be as most you know usable in any collaboration, you have to be the best of you as well. So I think that the self exploration of it all has been the most valuable thing for me.
Yeah. And I mean, even in like relationships, like think about that. It's like a life collab, right? Like you gotta be,
Hmm.
you gotta be like fully you to, you know,
To offer anything at the table.
exactly, man. You
Yeah,
know,
man, and that's in a capitalistic society, you know, that's financially as well.
oh
You
yeah.
know,
I mean,
like you
it
can't.
factors into everything, and you know, people are
Hmm.
obviously like super, I'd say, dodgy when it comes to money, and like people are like, Don't let money define you," blah blah blah, and that's true to an extent. But I mean,
Hmm.
it's so relevant.
Yeah,
It's
you can only trade favors for so long. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Like
man.
like niggas gotta eat, yo. So it's like,
Facts. Like time
bro.
is money. Like, come
Yo,
on.
for real, you know, no one's really trying to work for free, bro. Like, and that's
No.
what frustrates me too. Is like, you know, it's just like pay your artists, pay your producers, pay everyone involved, so that at the end of the day, everyone can eat well. You
Yeah.
know, and it comes back full circle. That karma is real with money too.
Karma goes everywhere, man. And you
Mm-hmm.
know, I just say this: don't waste your time. Stop wasting your time. That's my advice to my former self.
Yeah, yeah. Don't waste your time. Time is say less, do more.
And I would
You
even
know.
like we can even just substitute time is wealth, you know, and wealth isn't just money. So
Mm-hmm. It's
wealth
true.
is knowledge. Wealth is, you know, your soul, you know. So I
Facts.
so yeah,
Facts.
Trey, thanks for coming on, man. It was a blast.
Yo, I'm glad we could finally do this shit, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Everybody, go check out Mountains on iTunes and Spotify right now. Trey, you want to shout anything else out real quick?
No, man, just everyone follow, you know, maybe follow the Instagram. You know, I use Instagram the most. That's my shit. So,
It'll be in the
got
description below. You can check
yeah,
out Instagram, Twitter. All that will be
hell
there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I got the anime coming with Diggs on December. 23rd. January, you know, a couple weeks after,
Yeah,
I got the
you cut
single
out a little
coming
bit. So
out.
I think he said December 23rd, right?
Yeah, December 23rd on the Anime with Diggs, and then a couple weeks after in January, start the new year. Me and Michael Christmas got a joint coming out called Young Boy, and yeah, and then February you can expect the tape. So just
That's
follow
what's
me
up,
week
young
week to week.
Sasuke.
You're gonna get content, bro.
Nice. I like it. I like it. So, anything to say to the listeners before we cut out?
Nah, man, I just I'm grateful that anyone's following the movement.
Hell
I'm
yeah, dude.
grateful for anyone who's listening.
Love it. Love it. All right. Thanks for listening. Subscribe. Follow Trey. Follow me. Bye.
Peace.